Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Benzel here. And this video, we are going to be doing skill 1.1, which is on points, lines, and planes. So I want to give you a little background about why we do this skill. So our goal here is to be able to learn how to read geometric notation. And fortunately, Delta Math has come up with some really good exercises that will help you get some practice with reading geometric notation, and also connecting geometric notation to diagrams as well. So being able to read diagrams is going to help you master things like proofs, or solving certain problems about triangle theorems and so on. I want to begin with a quote that is actually from, I think, the most important text in history of classical education. And that is the original geometry book called The Elements of Euclid. And Euclid is an ancient Greek mathematician who wrote the original geometry book. And the first line of it says, "A point is that of which has no part." So my job is to make geometry for you and retell this history that has been around for thousands of years. All right, so let's get to the business right now. So what you should be copying down in your notes is this table with a written definition, and I'm also going to include a picture as well. So a point has, it's a dot with no dimension or direction. And we just name it with one letter. So maybe I'll call this like M. And that would be your picture. Lines. So a line is a straight connects 2 points and extends infinitely in both directions. So for instance, if I have maybe a point A and a point B, I'm just going to connect A and B, and I'm going to go beyond point B. I'm also going to go beyond point A. And you want to also pay attention to the notation and make sure that you got this down. So your notation is 2 points with the line symbol on top. A ray has an initial point and extends infinitely in one direction. So for instance, I may start at point A, that's my initial point. And then I go to B, and then I go beyond point B. And my notation is going to be AB with a ray symbol over it. So your first Delta Math exercises today are just going to give you things like lines or rays or line segments. And you are going to use the correct notation and get used to using the correct notation. And then a line segment connects 2 points, has definite start and end. So this would be that I'm going from like A to B, and I'm just stopping at those points. And I just named the 2 points and a line segment symbol over it. Note that you could also call it like BA as well. So as long as you have the 2 points there, that's what matters. And then a plane has 2 dimensions and consists of at least 3 points. Not on the same line. So not collinear. So maybe I have A, B, C, and it is flat. And I'm going to put a plane symbol, so that's going to be plane ABC. Or Delta Math even just likes to write the word plane as well. So please pause here. Make sure that you are screenshotting and putting on a Google Doc this table, or writing this down on a piece of paper, because this is the key to you in understanding the geometric notation. Now, remember, you guys have been around numbers for, probably 10 years at least, but you've probably been around geometric notation for maybe only a year or 2 at the most. So knowing this will kind of activate that part of the brain. All right. The next thing that we're going to have in this skill is just practice reading diagrams. So parallel, these are 2 lines that do not intersect. So the symbol that you will see on the diagrams are these arrow symbols. And we're just going to give you a preview of this today, even though we don't dive deep into parallel lines until next unit. Congruent sides. Sometimes people get confused about parallel versus congruence. There is not an arrow symbol. Well, so if I have A, B, and C, D, I could say, based off of a way that this diagram is looking, I could say that AB is congruent to CD. And then perpendicular is intersecting at a 90-degree angle. So in this case, with the way that I drew it, I could say that AB is perpendicular to BC. And then congruent angles, these are angles that have the same measure. So maybe if I have a triangle, like an isosceles triangle, I could have A, B, C. So I could say that angle A is congruent to angle C. And if the diagram is busier, you may want to just name it with the 3 points. So you could say that angle BAC is congruent to angle BCA. Now, if you know the symbols on the last slide, and you know these symbols and like a lot of the diagrams, you are going to find that geometry will be a lot more understandable for you. All right, let's look at what Delta Math does. So you're going to get some exercises, naming angles and stuff like that. One of the things I'm going to have you practice today is just the ability to read diagrams and write down what angles are congruent to each other. Now, notice here, like with like angle Q, there's actually multiple angle Qs. So you want to make sure that you are naming the angles by 3 points. So when I have diagrams, I like highlighting, and I think this is even a good practice when you're like taking your notes. So I know that this angle is congruent. So this red angle, this is my congruent angle symbol. So I'm gonna, and when we name an angle, we just connect the dots. So the vertex is the middle point. So I'm gonna say that UVO is congruent to, now let's see the other angle that I have. I'm just gonna go in a little bit different color. Maybe I'll do dark green. Is congruent to angle VQP. And I'm just going to kind of put kind of best practice. So best practice is to name the angles by 3 points. And I like to tell people, think, connect the dots. So you're going to get a lot of practice today, reading diagrams. All right, another example, just with segments. This says identify 2 segments that are marked congruent to each other on the diagram. So segments, remember, this is the congruent line segment symbol. I even think it's good to, mark your diagram up. So I know that JH is congruent to segment IH. So that is skill 1.1, which is points, lines, and planes. So we're teaching you the basic geometric notation, as well as how to make and read geometric diagrams, so that hopefully geometry will appear, more manageable for you to learn. So thank you very much for listening in. Make sure when you are submitting your notes that you have all the basic definitions that we went through, as well as the examples, and include in the examples sort of the notation and markings that you see in the diagrams as well, because those markings really do matter.